Hi, this is Roger. Thanks for dropping by. Thanks for your best wishes about my bad back, but that's now history. That was yesterday. This is today. Today I'm fine. But thanks for the best wishes and all that stuff. I'm in the middle of doing quite a few videos at the moment, all in parts. So I'm not going to do anything lengthy today. I will get in a muddle. I've got to water all the mounts and everything today, and I have got other things to do. So I thought I'd just pick on a couple that I know I'm about to handle, starting with this Vanda. Now, this is the one with the bright orange blooms that's just finished blooming, and I said, oh, that's good, there's another spike coming. Well, some of my plants like making me out a liar. It's got 2 spikes coming. I don't mind when the numbers go up. It's when they go down or turn into a kiki or a leaf I don't like. But anyway, we got 2 more spikes pushing up on that. It did that last year. It did a single bloom and then 2 pairs. And it is pushing out top growth. This is good because obviously it runs out of places to spike. As it moves up the stem, the new spikes are always higher because the previous nodes have been used. Well, they can't get used again. So it missed one here. Come on, go back and get it. But it's now pushing up a pair and 2 new leaves. Literally, you know, that pair of leaves is now spiking. So for it to move on here, it needs some more top growth, which it's currently doing. It is the growing season after all. So anyway, 2 new spikes. Yay! Well, this is the ugly duckling of my Vandas. Not a nice looking plant at all. It is a species. I just wanted to point out this sort of thing. All my plants have recently had a systemic spray, but you see that little mark there? Well, that's not the problem. That's the problem. Okay, that's a dead scale. They don't come off that easy. But some scale got on it, took a bite, and have damaged the cells. So these little patches are where scale have been. That's why I can spot them a mile off. And if you sort of think, I bet if I get in there, there's actually some. Yeah, see, they're in there. Now, hopefully they're dead, but the damage is already done. You see, right in the base of where the growth is now. That's where they get. They'll get in under the spikes. And as I've always said, if you've ever had scale, the chances are you've still got them somewhere, and they'll come back. So I'm going to deal with that one because this is not a happy plant at the best of times. But update on the spikes. Pushing on nicely. Blasted one on there. I can live with one. There's got plenty more to come. And 2 more good spikes creeping out of the leaves here. So 4 spikes pushing on well. These are not huge blooms. It is a species, Roblingiana. They're not huge blooms. So this is going to be open soon. Largest bloom here. You know, and just from memory, the size of the blooms, that's not going to be long before that actually opens. But I've got to get in here and make these dead. Even though I've sprayed it, they're going to get extra treatment. You know, this time they will get hydrogen peroxide and I'll burn the little buggers to death. You know, they can spoil the look of a plant, things like this. You know, those spots have got to stay with those leaves forever now. Same in there. That's a relatively new leaf here. Well, those are dead. But the damage is done. You know, keep on top of these little tykes. This is one of my Rhynchostylis giganteas with the little guardian. I have to go very careful watering this one. This one lives in around this plant, and he's bordering on getting too big. I don't like spiders, but they eat bugs, and that one's just about within my tolerance level. I don't want it on me. As long as it stays on the plant, it can stay there. But that's not really why I was filming. What I was filming is, at last, we got a new root. Yeah? And boy, is that a biggie. It hasn't grown a new root for flipping ages. In fact, it hasn't done much for ages, and it certainly hasn't bloomed. But I think these count as Vandaceous types. They're along those lines. But yeah, some progress. I mean, it pushes up a new leaf now and again. It's doing one now, but it's never bloomed, nor is the other one. And this is the other one. I mean, this hasn't actually got a bad root system buried down in this pot, and it's certainly the better looking plant. It's a bigger plant, It's just grown this leaf, bigger than any previous ones. That's one of my leaves, and it's got a new one coming. But again, no sign of any blooms anywhere. I just keep them alive and just live in hope that one day we will see that magic spike coming out of one or the other. We'll see how we go. Now these Vanda blooms have grown a lot since they opened. Now that I'm aware that that happened, I sort of enjoy watching it. You know, these blooms were probably 2/3 that size when they opened, and they're now up to their sort of full potential. Let's get my hand up there. You know, these are big blooms, very big blooms, and certainly they've got a lot more colour on them. That purplish tinge and the tessellations is far more pronounced this year. Well, that's its second spike this year, and for the first time ever, two spikes were actually open for a while at the same time. But this plant's getting a bit of a monster now. I mean, that bloom spike, because it blooms relatively near the top growth, which is what normally happens, you know, that's sticking up probably 14-15 inches above the top of the plant, and you've then got all of the plant and the root system. And the root system on this one is not a hanging root system. This is a right pain, because the big fat chunky roots keep growing outwards, so it won't go in the bucket. So only half of it can go in the bucket. I have to turn it on its side and do half the plant, and then turn it over and do the other half, because it's the only way I can get those roots in the bucket. And with, you know, big strappy roots like this, and a plant that's putting on a hell of a load of top growth and supporting a spike, if that doesn't get properly hydrated, I'll slow it down. So it has to go in the bucket, it has to soak and get fully hydrated. Otherwise it'll just slow up, as it will in the winter probably. But yeah, I've just got to keep it growing. But a lot of the new root growth really is coming out sideways, you know, big strappy new one here. This one came out and then just decided to branch all over the place. There's hardly any roots coming down the lower part of the plant. You know, they're all coming out sideways, higher and higher up the stem. Yeah, which is sort of like a natural process. When I got this plant, there were quite a lot of hanging roots, but they were rotten, they were dead, so they actually got cut off. So most of the roots on this plant now, you know, have grown since I got the plant. And it is growing well. I got no complaints, but it is getting big. There's a limit to how I can accommodate Vandas. They have to go there. That's the only bright light I've got where there's no shade netting on the roof. You can see the line where the shade netting stops. Yeah, so that's the brightest place. They need that. But I've had to extend the hook on this one. The plant is what needs to be up in the bright light, not the spike. But where else can I put the plant if the spike's going to grow skyward like that? So the plant has to come down. And as the plants come down like this, you know, I have to start leaving spaces on the shelves to accommodate the roots. So that's, you know, a couple of other plants that I've had to find somewhere else to put. This is getting a monster, this one. But it blooms well, you know. So I've just got to accommodate it. I have to shuffle things round. It's worth it for a spike like that. I'm happy. Okay, this one has opened. Still got buds to go. Still actually got quite a few buds to go. Looking at the top there, but they're open. They haven't reached their full size yet. As I said, Vanda blooms grow after they open, so these are not at their full size yet. As far as the plant's concerned, it's in that wooden basket, whether I like it or not. It's so firmly attached, I'd rip that root system to shreds trying to get it out. And quite honestly, the basket isn't going to get any bigger, and the basket works on my hanging wire up there, so that's fine. I may have to extend the hook eventually, because Vandas just get taller and taller. But this has got very good top growth on this one. This one even carries on growing in the winter. And I suspect that's because it's got cerulean in it, which is one that will tolerate cooler temperatures and a little bit less light. And with that in it, and it's a very strong set of genes, that probably means this is the one most suited to my environment. Well, the UK winter, let's put it that way. But we can have a closer look at one of these. As I said, these haven't reached their full size yet. But we can, now I've got the thing down, it's coming up to its turn in the bucket. And believe it or not, that root system and the basket still fits in the bucket at the moment. Well, I'm going to need a bigger bucket soon. But the patterning and the coloration on this is just stunning. I couldn't ask for a nicer Vanda. It's got the typical Vanda shape of the hybrids, you know, with the petals and sepals not leaving much of a gap between them, getting that nice flat circular shape. And that's got a really deep coloured lip on it. These are gorgeous blooms. And I love these twisty stems. But anyway, as a plant, it's coming on in leaps and bounds. It's probably my best Vanda as far as the plant, the root system, the rate of growth. And it bloomed for the first time last year. So this is its first spike this year. It may spike again later in the year, but at the moment I'm just enjoying this one. They last quite a long time. You know, we're not up with Phalaenopsis or Latoria dendrobium type lasting blooms, but as Vandas go, these last quite well. Yeah, I mean that's not such a deep colour, but that one's only just opened, and the colour deepens as it goes along. The colour deepens, and they get bigger. So there's more to come from this. Absolute beauty. Okay, that's it for this video. As I say, I've got a lot on the go at the moment, and I've got so many clips lying around. I'm trying to bundle them up in folders and try and get myself organised. As you know, I'm doing my fast updates. Well, a lot of that filming is being done as I handle a plant. Loads of the dendrobiums were done today because a lot of them are mounted, and I've just watered my mounts. So a lot of those are already filmed. Some of the others are filmed, so I'm getting in a bit of a muddle. So I'm going to keep this one relatively short. Okay, thanks for dropping by. See you next time. That really is a beauty.